Isn't it a joy when we find something in life that maybe we troubled over or that we didn't even think about, when something in life turns out to be really simple, and then we didn't go toward it because we thought, well, maybe it's very difficult or we don't have time to do it. And one of those things that actually is very simple is just to take a look at your own life. And we already have a lot of practice because we look at other people's lives. We're so used to looking out and seeing what doesn't work for other people. And in a way, it's kind of obvious. But for ourselves, it's a total mystery sometimes. And somehow what we're doing, we're not necessarily that interested in. You know, we might say we're interested in it, and it seems like the best possible choice for what our objectives are. But when we really look at it, it's a secondary or tertiary interest, and it's all about when I get this series of obligations done, when I fulfill these promises, when this is the best way that I can arrive somewhere where, I'll be all complete, my family will be grown, my children and wife will be happy, my retirement will be fixed and set, my net worth and assets will be in good shape, I'll have nothing to worry about, and all that stuff is going to happen tomorrow, and we haven't really looked at it really, really, really carefully, many of us anyhow. And so then these are things that we've just said, well, when we get there, we'll figure it out, what's satisfying in life. Well, I'll figure that out tomorrow. And we also have a belief that, like, the faster I go, the quicker I'll get there. And so then the faster I'll go means that there's really not much time for anything else. I know I was a businessman and almost always owned my own business. And so then I would have long lists of things that were my goals. And my goals always seemed way more important than any other opportunities that might be around. And so my standard line was, no, I can't do that. It'd be much better to get a couple more things on my list done and lift this weight off my shoulders. And so anyhow, when I just kind of discovered that, hey, I could really look into my life and just to see, actually how is it progressing and what are the satisfying parts and what are the dissatisfying parts and what's the mechanism that life feels bad and what's the mechanism when life feels good. And as I understood that, and then I thought, oh my God, I could have known this a long time ago, but it never crossed my mind. It just never crossed my mind. And that's where it really kind of takes a hint. Like some people can hint to you that, hey, you can look at life a different way. And it depends on how they do it, of course, because if they do it in a way that makes you feel like, oh, I must be going wrong, then you think, oh, the hell with you, I'm not interested in your line. And my line is better, you do what I do. But I mean, if somehow that hint can be gentle, and that's what must have happened to me, because at a certain time I just felt like, oh my God, I could have known this way longer ago. I could have really enjoyed my life in a totally different kind of a way. I was thinking I was enjoying myself because we're always telling ourselves that things are working and that this is the way to do it. And so then that was really the kind of like, maybe subconsciously, the birth of Never Not Here. I wanted to tell that story. I mean, really what I want to do is to tell people, don't wait, and just take your own life into your own hands. And the faster you do it, the better you're going to be, because certainly don't wait as long as I did. And that's really what happened, without any expertise in telling a story, without any expertise in technical expertise of making a movie, without any kind of a venue or any place to show anything. One step at a time, this whole TV show, public access, international website, people from all over the world listening to me and to those that I talk to. It's really taken place. And so I'm saying that it's kind of like a fortuitous series of circumstances. But really, what does that mean? All it means is that I learned to say yes. I learned to leave a little time apart in my life where I could just take some options, take some other options, consider some other options. And sometimes those yeses just turn out to be a small diversion, and sometimes that small diversion goes to another possible step, and then that goes somewhere else, and it's very organic. It just kind of grows. And sometimes those diversions are just something we let go of, and it is not all that interesting, and we make space for something else to happen. And it's kind of like a prioritizing of your life, and so that you can try a few things, and maybe you could call it a risk that you would you could participate in a few small projects. And participation is a big part of it, because if we feel that our time is all that important, and that we should, we count our hours in dollars per hour, and what we're losing by what do you call it, your lost opportunity. I wasn't doing my main job. And so then volunteering, or finding out what other people need, or finding what gives satisfaction to other people, or what's the root of satisfaction and what's the root of dissatisfaction. These things can fall by the wayside, and we really don't get involved in them, or don't take a look for our own life. And really, satisfaction, in a way, it's a focus, because you're either looking at your life and seeing what works, or you're looking at your life and seeing what doesn't work. And if you concentrate on what doesn't work, there's pain to it. And if you concentrate on what does work, well, some of us believe actually that nothing's going to happen because everything is working, and so then there's no need to do anything. Well, maybe there's no need to think too much, but things come up. I mean, take it from me. I mean, I will testify that opportunities show their face, and basically it's just, hey, I can do this. I've been doing this thing, and I can do this. And so whether it adds to your portfolio, whether it adds to what your stated goals of retirement goals or something, the whole idea of retirement, and that later is going to be a better day, and that my life is on the downgrade, so I have to save for. I mean, I'm a realist too. Don't get me wrong, and I live pretty good, even though that I'm not working. And I have a lot of luck. I mean, I have people around me that love me, and life is good. One thing we like to point at on the shows is how to get out of a rut, because that is really frustrating when somebody feels like that their life is circling and cycling, and no matter what they do, it doesn't change. And somehow their eyes are closed to the fact that they're not taking any steps to make any changes. In other words, there's a fear factor that if I change, somehow my life will degrade, and this is the best possible thing I can do in this moment. And somehow we like to point at how to open your life up to other options, and maybe those options at this moment are not so big, and aren't by themselves are not going to fulfill what you think you need in this moment. But somehow you have to leave a crack, and let things come in. And this is not only in your physical life, but also in your psychological life. So then many of us are wedded to philosophies and to traditions, and somehow we believe that those traditions, even though they've helped maybe thousands of people see more clarity in their life, we believe those traditions are somehow true. And we're trying to, in that sense, shape our life to the tradition. And instead of just looking at our life in a neutral way and seeing what's here now, and then trying to develop, if we need it, an explanation or our own philosophy, or what works for us. And so trying to fit a mold has been very painful, all through education and through socialization and through relationships. Trying to fit somebody else's mold is maybe one of the main causes of dissatisfaction. And so many times we try to point that you are the only teacher, you know. We say, is this a self-help show? Well, really it is, because you're the only one that's going to help yourself, you know. And so then we're just trying to say, you can do it. And these other people have done it. And so just take inspiration and take a risk, and you know, be vulnerable if vulnerability is part of the formula. And in that vulnerability, we're trying to say that it's not necessarily a painful process. One of the best ways I think we do this is by focusing on young people, because there's a lot of young people that are very clear. It doesn't always take years and years of spiritual practice, years and years of following a master, and years and years of beating your head against the wall, trying to figure out what life is all about. Sometimes a young person sees it clearly right away. And I believe that is about the most helpful, because even if a master or an established teacher is very heartfelt and you can really resonate with them, still there's a barrier inside, because you believe, you can't help it, that this guy's special, you know. He's had years and years and years of studying the spiritual sciences. He's had a whole long path. He's had thousands and thousands of people that he's helped and that follow him. And how can that be me? How can little old me be the same as him or have the same feeling? So in that sense, there's a barrier. And then so at Never Not Here, when we find somebody that's very clear and also very young, we really like to concentrate on that person. So it follows, when people ask me, who would you like to interview? I mean, really, my best answer is you, because I'm not really looking toward the famous and the well-known and those that have a big following. It would be nice in the sense that I would get a lot of juice from it, because of course energy flows from a high potential to a low potential. So if I found any high potential teachers that wanted to talk with me, we would get a lot of action out of it. And in fact, I don't even ask those people if they'd like to be on Never Not Here. I just ask them if they like what I'm doing and if they want to mentor me. And you know, I don't think many of them take me up on it, and that's okay, because that's really not where we're trying to go. And we're not trying to do any grandiose projects, and we're not trying to be famous, and we're not really trying to grow in great spurts. Although we do have a beautiful vehicle, and I'd like to see it used. I'm sure it could do a lot more than it's doing now. People write me and tell me that watching Never Not Here, they followed it for a certain amount of months or even years, and it has meant a lot to them. And then a lot of people live in places that they feel they're isolated, and they don't have ready access. Although at one time I was just trying to show by the number of teachers that there's somebody close to everybody, and if somehow you can just open your eyes and look around, maybe you'll find them. Maybe one example I could give you of looking at what works and instead of looking at what doesn't work. Never Not Here is not financed, so I could say, oh my gosh, that doesn't work. You know, it takes money to do projects, and it takes you know, there's no big logistics that I can pull off, and so then I'm stuck in my little old studio. But really, it's a tremendous advantage and a beautiful experiment, because I'm not tied to anything. I don't have any allegiances. I don't have to sell anything. I mean, you can totally trust me, because my credibility is good, because I'm not trying to lean on something that I'm trying to sell. And I don't need to push any special teaching. I don't need to push any special teacher, sell DVDs, or any kind of thing. So there's really no conflict of interest whatsoever. And so that freedom has allowed me just to follow my nose and just to see what could be interesting to me and what could be interesting to you. And I'm really not at all attached to where I go and who I talk to. And I'm looking for something new. I'm looking for people that somehow, by grace, maybe there's a nation, maybe there's a group, maybe there's a city where people get along. And maybe, there is. I mean, just look, the difference between Chicago and Toronto. They're about similar cities, and Chicago has, I just heard 450 murders a year, and Toronto has only 40. I mean, there's some places that things work in a better way, and when I hear that, I just feel like I want to get over there and just find out, well, what is it that allows you to tolerate your fellow man? What is it that allows you to accept people? And what is it it must be that you accept yourself, right? And so that's where everything starts, with self-acceptance, and then if we want to really go for it, self-love. We don't really talk about love too much, because no matter what you say about love, that's not it. And somehow we just feel that talking about life and the mechanisms of life, if you can be satisfied with your own life, and if you can notice your anxiety level and let off on it, that love is what's left over. And we don't talk that much about death, because that's not everybody's favorite subject. Of course, when you're right on the edge of death, then it's a good time to talk about it. When your mother or relatives are right on the edge of death, you might want to hear about it or know about it. And it's not that I'm adverse to it. I've read about it. I've thought about it. We've talked about it. But when I think of death, I think the best thing is to let this moment die. Let your concepts die. Let your clutter die and throw it out. And just renew every moment by when I said let this moment die, that's probably I think very useful. So what is it that I get a kick out of? I really like participation, because I know that a certain amount of people are watching our videos, a certain amount of people are following us, and but not that many, when you look at the ratios, are really making comments or posting forums, or actually posting videos, or anyone could post a video on Never Not Here. There's an HTML editor, and not everybody has it, but I can give it to anyone that asks. And with that, you can do embed codes, and you can make your own videos, or you can just find them on YouTube and share whoever you want, and share what's meaningful for you. I'm willing to open any kind of forum topic. We've got parenting, we've got health, we've got any kind of freedom topic that we want to talk about. I'm more than willing to share. So like I said, I think before, we have a beautiful vehicle. Let's put some horsepower in it and make it go. And it's okay if it doesn't too, so that I'm not that attached to what happens, but I'm open and willing for us all to get along, and to show each other how getting along, and how being more healthy, and how more self-acceptance can happen. And if it's easy for you, maybe it's easy for me too. And so show me, be my example, and be open, and be everyone's example. And so thanks for participating in Never Not Here, and thanks for being my friend, and thanks for allowing me to be your friend. So, and thanks for listening.